Good morning, everybody. Forex market. Welcome back Wednesday. Today we're looking at the New Zealand versus the Canadian. We wanted to bring you this one straight from our watch list. Actually, the top favorite pending trading opportunity right now, long term, medium to long term, is right here, New Zealand versus the Canadian. Now, the situation here is very interesting, technically speaking, because we have the medium to long term cycle presented here right from the weekly chart. Here we see a strong, very solid, strong bearish situation, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But we also have a lower scale system, very short term systems coming from the daily chart. Actually, it's coming from the 4-hour chart if we want to be precise. But I want to show you how it looks like from the daily perspective. I'm talking about this purple system here, right? Let's zoom in a little bit. This is the formation we're tracking. One on the downside, second on the way up, and third on the way down. But the real bottom line here, the level you want to make sure you remember here and you take notice of, is 87.48 right there. 87.48 already proved to be a significant support level by pushing price action, today and yesterday, right? So, and we figured out that we're going to be using this very local system, and namely 87.48 here, as a reliable trigger. And right now, like I said, it's coming from the watch list. We haven't taken any action yet, but we feel that the situation is very good as far as this bearish conviction that I'm trying to describe here. I'm taking you back to the weekly chart, to the big picture, just to show you where we're coming from. Now, around October 2019, price started to trade sideways. It came from above, there was a long downside trend, and then at some point it started to do this. It went up, it went down straight to the bottom support, 81, the last line of the bottom support level, 81 spot. A nice touchdown here, and from that point it went straight from coast to coast all the way to the other side. The top resistance here, 89.29, touched base a few times, as you can see, spiked that area, and then started to turn back down. On the way down, it broke 86.63. 86.63 was the big testing ground, right? It's the mid-high key level. It had to be overcome. This obstacle had to be overcome if price was going to have that full-fledged downside reversal and produce a full leg back to where it came from, pretty much the lower section, 83.66. That's the major level here, and price did break that 86.63 for a week. It held its ground below that level for a week, and then it kind of exploded upwards. But here's where the interesting part begins. On its way up, because we were trying to figure out whether this explosive move was a change in the direction of the trend, or whether it was just a nasty technical correction. That aggressive move that was backlashing against the first downside segment with what we suspect is a legitimate downside trend. So here's what we did. We basically measured that whole move, that whole first downside segment from the top to the bottom. And what we noticed last week, that price was starting to pull back, right? It was suspiciously starting to pull back, leaving that spike here. And we wanted to see why. What was the reason for price to change the tone and start to to push downwards? And obviously, when we made that little bit of a Fibonacci analysis, we figured out that 88.41, that blue dotted line you see in front of you, is the 61.8 Fibonacci correction. So now we understand why price had been changing direction and it's starting to pull back down. We think this is the end of that technical correction. It was a technical correction, a very aggressive one, but it's probably the end of it, and price is back on the downside. So all we need now, in order to trigger this, in order to activate this medium to long term type of position where we're going to be aiming at 83.66, All right, so we're talking about 400 pip. In order for us to take action here, we need that level here, 87.48, to get broken, to be broken, right? Once price breaks that level, we're gonna jump in and we're gonna be all over this this bearish position, New Zealand Canadian bearish conviction. Now, one more thing I have to say before we leave. As you can see, price is finding some support already. There's a very good chance it will go back up before it comes back down for the actual breakdown. So if that happens, if we're going to have another swing up and down, another back and forth swing here, we're going to try actually to get in here. Unless, of course, price will break down before that happens, right? That's about that. New Zealand versus Canadian. Interesting stuff. We'll be back soon to follow up on the situation. See you in the next video. Take care.